Now, guys, if there was any benefit to this holiday break we took, it's that I don't know about you guys, but I caught up with a lot of television. But I'll go with you guys first. Did you guys watch any good stuff over the break?
I gotta think about that. I'm not sure. Watch a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I watched Doom Patrol. Pretty good. It's like a half season.
That's on my list. Yeah.
They ended on a cliffhanger, so not my favorite.
Well, yeah, but it is.
We knew that was
to be
coming.
fair, it's like a half season thing. Hopefully, there's not a big length of time before they pick them
The
back
second
up. But
half.
I don't know their schedule exactly. But yeah, that continues to be a great show. I just love it shows how diverse superhero shows can be. It's a very quirky show.
Oh, should we talk about their opening sequence?
Oh, sure, go.
So they introduced this obscure character named Codpiece.
Codpiece.
And basically got a giant laser where his dick goes, basically. And he's shooting at people. But if you Google search the image for Codpiece comic, there's ones where he's got one of those old fashioned drills and he's drilling into a vault or something. There's one where he's got one of those punching gloves punching a guy in the face. So it's like a real utility codpiece.
I'll be honest, they just used the laser.
They just used the laser.
I would have rather seen the boxing glove.
The boxing gloves would be pretty good.
They'll have to have the return of Codpiece.
I don't think we've seen the last of Codpiece.
They also had a guy, I don't know what his name was, but he had a cannon come out of his butthole.
Oh, yeah. I think we might have seen the last of that.
Well, they did bend his cannon pipe. So
Yeah.
who knows where that leaves him?
That was a little random, but it can't be good for you. He's going to need some work done.
Well, I guess I'll go through my list, and then if you watched any of the same stuff, which I know we have another commonality, or if you guys think of other stuff, you can just toss it in. So on Netflix, I watched that movie Bullet Train that came out last year that has Brad Pitt in it.
Oh, yeah, I was pretty leery.
Here's the thing, it is an action movie, and I know you're leery of your action movies, but I do think they take just enough time to kind of give every character a backstory so that you're invested and it's not just pure action. I mean, a lot of action in it, but they at least make you give you a backstory of the character so you're somewhat invested.
It seemed a little bit too it was trying to be slapstick and action.
Yeah, I guess there's some of that, but I don't know. I enjoyed it. I think David Leitch is the guy who directed it, who's done things like Deadpool 2 and that Atomic Blonde movie with Charlize Theron, which neither of those are perfect, but I think they have good stuff in them.
You got to pick the nuggets out of it.
You did like Deadpool 2, though, didn't you? Kind of.
I think I said it was better than the first one.
Well, there you go. I also watched Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery.
Same.
I'll say this. I liked it, but I thought it was a big step down from the original Knives Out. I love the original Knives Out. This one, I was just it's okay. Did you watch it?
No.
You haven't watched it yet?
No.
I think it's worth a watch, but at the same time, I don't know what you thought. I thought, the first one, even though it had, characters with big personalities, it felt somewhat grounded. This one, I think, just because of the setting was so kind of weird. I don't know. The whole movie felt a little weird to me. I don't know. It was still, and also the mystery wasn't set up as good as in the original Knives Out. The reveal wasn't very exciting. I don't know. I liked it, but it didn't. I didn't love it. What did you think of it?
Yeah, it was kind of meh.
I know you don't like the
love
first
mysteries
one.
to start with.
Yeah, you're not a mystery guy like I am. But I know a lot of people really loved it. I'm I can't put it in line with the first movie. But I also I took the time to finish some series that I've started, but kind of were on my list for a long time that I just I need to finish this, but I never did. So I finished Killing Eve season 4, which the reason I hadn't finished it was because it started really slow that season. And then it did get better as it went along. But then, and I haven't looked this up for sure, but you get to the last episode and it ends very abruptly, like something happens and it just says the end. So like I'm thinking, like I'm guessing I watched the series finale. I don't know for sure. I didn't actually look it up. But if that's the case, I actually wouldn't recommend the series to people because I felt like that abrupt ending was just very unsatisfying. Like there's good stuff in the series, but like if that's the ending, like I don't recommend going on the journey. The destination is a disappointment. I also finally finished that Pen 15 series, which is a series where like two like, women in their 30s like play like teenagers, like their teenage selves.
Yeah, I watched a few of those.
Here's the thing, like it's only a 2-season show, so it's not like a huge time commitment, but I really liked the first season. Like I thought it was pretty funny, but eventually especially in season 2, I feel like it went too much into dramedy territory where they're like less funny, more serious. And I'm like, you should have just stuck with the jokes. Like it was, I don't know. I thought it went downhill a little bit. It's not terrible, but the first season was definitely better. Okay, Lester, I know you and I both watched this movie, The Banshees of Inisherin.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's probably a little slow for some people, but it's also it's got some weird elements that keep you captivated.
Well, the reason I watched it is because it's directed by, I think the guy's name is Martin McDonagh, the same guy that directed In Bruges, which is a movie I really like, and it has that same actors too, Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson.
Right.
So that same team. So I was like, I definitely want to watch this, and I definitely like this movie. I don't like it near as well as In Bruges. And I think the ending was kind of just, it ended,
Well, I mean, the question how to end it, I guess that's a decent way to do it. But
I will say, though, like, there is some I really like the dialogue in this movie and, like, how, like, their accents and just how they talk. And I actually thought for me, the standout was, I believe the actress's name is Carrie Condon, the woman who plays Colin Farrell's sister.
right.
I really thought she was great, and she had some funny lines. But for anyone who hasn't watched it, basically Colin Farrell, it's like I think that it takes place in like 1923 off this island off of the like mainland of Ireland called Inisherin. And like Colin Farrell plays like this guy who's a nice guy, but a bit of a simpleton, I guess.
Yeah, apparently.
And he's got this guy that's been his longtime friend, played by Brendan Gleeson, who's, I guess, a little more sophisticated, smarter, and he plays like the fiddle and things. And like one day, like at the beginning of the movie, he's just like, "Don't talk to me anymore." Like, and so
he handled it like the worst possible way. The worst way to end a friendship.
And it goes into some weird places. I won't spoil it for anybody, but like, I would still recommend watching it. It's got some amusing stuff in it. If you haven't seen In Bruges, I definitely see In Bruges first. It's a better movie. But shout out to the Banshees of Inisherin. I liked it. So I did get HBO to watch like Doom Patrol, and I was like, well, if we're on the superhero train again, I might as well watch season 2 of Superman and Lois, which I gotta say, I really enjoyed. I thought it was a very easy watch. The only thing both about Doom Patrol and Superman and Lois is they're probably not long to this earth, like because they've canceled like all the other like ongoing DC shows to make way for whatever they're doing. So like, sadly, I think these shows are probably coming to a close. But honestly, like Superman and Lois, like it was easily better than any of the Marvel shows we reviewed last year.
Well, HBO is higher quality in general, I think.
Well, I mean, this is one of those shows that premieres on the CW first, and then and some of those are of a
very bad,
low quality. But this one I really like. I recommend it to people.
As long as it doesn't go like Supergirl.
Yeah, yeah. Please don't go into Supergirl territory. No, this was an easy watch. Supergirl, at least the last season of Supergirl was not. And then lastly, I just started watching Barry season 3. I like this show. I know a lot of people like put it on like their best of lists of television and stuff. I can't go that far. Like I've heard some people compare it to like Breaking Bad, and I'm like, what are you doing? But it is enjoyable.
I saw 1 or 2. I was having trouble getting into it.
Couldn't get hooked on it. I've liked it. I've liked it just well enough to keep going. Let's see. All right, did you guys come up with anything else you've been watching?
Yeah, I watched this show called Rise of Empires or something like that. It was basically
time
about
to take your blood thinners. Oh yeah,
it was about the Ottoman Turks, like their invasion of Constantinople. It's kind of like a documentary mixed with like a series, like.
Do they have like dramatic reenactments?
Oh yeah. So I mean, it's really well acted. I thought, for anything like with a documentary in it, where like people are actually like explaining, like, oh, he did this and went this way and that way and brought this many men. Like it was well explained, but it was also well acted. So it was best of both worlds. I thought it was really good. I was captivated by it, and I also watched Murderville. That's a show where they bring in like a guest host every new episode.
Right. I thought about watching that once, but then I never did. Did you like it?
Yeah, it was okay. It's fun watching the new person squirm, kind of like
because they kind of do like improv, right?
Yeah.
Like they have like a loose like script or something.
Yeah.
But then they improv.
But the person who's the guest host doesn't have any script. They're just like
so they're totally got improv.
Yeah. So like they'll be like, so what do you see? And the guest host will be like, a dead body. Like I don't know. So yeah, it's pretty fun to see them work on their on their feet like that.
Who was out of the episodes you watched? Who was the best guest host?
I'd say Kumail Nanjiani. He's just a funny guy. I think just a fun person to.
Didn't Conan O'Brien do an episode?
I'm not. He might have. I'm not sure which episode he did. I didn't see that one.
Oh, okay. It's a good like premise for a show, but I guess it's all dependent on like how good the improvisers are.
Exactly. Yeah, it's all up to that person.
So that Rise of Empires or whatever it was, that's some. You said because I heard you and your sister talking about this show because she really liked it too. It's somewhat about like Vlad Dracula or whatever, like the guy that the Dracula guy, like mythos is kind of based on.
Yeah.
Like, didn't he wasn't he kind of famous? Maybe I'm wrong about this, but didn't he like put a bunch of like heads on pikes to like scare
people? He
people?
put people on pikes. Like he put them from anus to like up to their shoulder.
Ooh.
That's how the pike would come through them. So I mean, thousands and thousands of people, men, women, and children. He impaled a bunch of people.
I can see why that kind of like violence would like create like a mythos around that guy,
Yeah. Well, I mean, if he had won, he probably would have been seen as a hero. Nobody would be talking about the savage stuff he did. But because he lost, like everybody knows him as like, this savage, bloodthirsty, evil guy.
Can you imagine walking through one of those areas? The first thing in your mind would be like, I need to get the fuck out of this place.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, this is not a place for me.
Yeah, it's definitely an intimidation tactic that would work.
Yeah.
If you were going to fight, though, you'd be like, I need to die in this fight. I don't need to have some fucking post shoved up my asshole.
Yeah, I mean, once you do a stunt like that, you're like, all right, it's all or nothing now.
Yeah.
Eventually, like he ran off to like the countryside. Like he tried to form another army, but he was hunted down like years later, 13 years after his last battle with the Ottomans, and he was just killed like unceremoniously. His head was displayed on a pike. But man, I mean, back then it's crazy. Like people would go to war for anything. Like they got thousands of people to like line up behind him for a war that they were definitely going to lose. I don't know. People just were willing to die for much smaller things back then, I feel like.
Now we'll only go to war for meaningful things like oil and money.
Oil and gold. Oil and gold.